Alright, this is Fat Bee Man. I know everybody's putting frames together. I'm going to show you the way I do it and what to look for and what not to do. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to do 2 frames, and I like to lay my frames out on the table saw. Table saw works good for assembly, works good for just about everything. I don't use a frame jig, I just use my table saw. And in a minute I'm going to show you why I do that. These frames are pretty well, they're square enough, they go together. I use staples and I use brads. And I'm going to get my staple gun, which is, this is 1/4 crown staple gun. And it's 1.25 inch leg. I push it together and I put the staple gun down and I get my finger or my thumb out of the way. Now I put 1 staple here. There's no need to put 2 staples there. Put 1 staple here. Now I turn it over and I'm going to put 2. Just like so. That frame is done. There's no need to do anything else. Now as you're working, you got a table saw. These lands in here are perfectly square to that blade. You take your frame and you lay it down here. Make sure you're lined up. See, I'm off just a hair. We're going to straighten it up. We're perfect now. Now you notice right here, there's a lot of people that like to put a staple up underneath here. I don't recommend that, and I'm going to show you why. Get this one square. Pretty much always go together. Now here's a hive tool. Let's say we got this in your box. Now here's what every beekeeper does. They take this hive tool, they jam it down in here, and they pop the frames apart to pull their frames out. And if you stop and you think about it, do I do that myself at the house? Now I'm going to show you what you need to do. You need to put the hive tool in here and break it loose, because you're going to get propolis here. Now this frame, the way the grain is running, this is your weakest point right down through here. And if you do this and it's propolized, you're going to split this right down. Now you got a frame that it's basically unused. Now you notice I didn't use no glue. You can take a big strong and you can pull this. You can't pull it apart. If I can't pull it apart, then why would you glue it? Now, the one reason I don't glue is, let's say you forgot to put your hive tool properly and you split this. Now you got a frame that's going to sit up. The bee space is changed. If you put it together like this, you can take your thumbs and you can push and you can push and you can push that off. Take this and you push it off. You replace just this. You can put that back in. You got a good frame. If you glue it, you'll destroy this and you'll destroy that. Not only that, glue contains formaldehyde. Now, we got to this stage. I'm going to show you how I put foundation in. You want to have the tools that you're going to need is a good utility knife and a side cutters. You've got all your frames together. You want to break this off. Take this with your finger. Break off all this. Take the time to do it now before you put your wax in. Alright, you see how I've done that. Now here's another thing. Make sure that this ridge in here, you come along and make sure you don't have any high spots. See, I'm starting to catch a few high spots. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is you want to get some of these little nails. They're tiny little boogers. You'll need 4 nails. And the reason I use fishing line rather than I use the wire is because if you're going to start raising your own queens, you put wire in there, the bees are going to put the best cells over. Now, I usually come up a 1/2 inch above the hole on the side. There's a little hole on the side of that frame. You want to drive this nail to about 1/8 inch high from the top of your frame. Come up about a 1/2 inch above. If you drive this nail straight down and you hit that hole there, what you're going to do is you're going to nick your monofilament line, and then you're going to break that monofilament. All I've done is completely flip the frame over, drop that nail down in there. Now, as far as the fishing line, you can use anything from 8-pound all the way up to 20-pound. I got old eyes, and I'm using 15-pound. And you can strip this off of your old fishing lines, your fishing poles. I just buy new. Now, here's another thing people do. They'll try to stick this in here, fiddle around with this, do this kind of number. I don't do that. I don't even worry about this. Stick it down in here. First thing you want to do, take your cleat bar and push it down. Now, I'm going to change my gun. This is a staple gun. I don't put staples in here for one reason. Staples hold too good, and you'll tear this cleat bar up. Use a brad, and you can reuse this 20-30 times. Now, I use a 5/8 brad. And what I do is I start in the middle, and I push down. Put a staple there, one here, one right there. Yeah. Now you see, I didn't have to fool around with it. I just take my fingers. See how that drops right into that groove? Nothing to it. All right, now, the next thing you want to do is get you a number 8 nail or an 8-penny nail. Clean your holes out on the side of your frame. Make sure that you're cleaned up here. That way your fishing line's going to go through. Just take you a second. Some of them look like they glued shut. Now, I'm assuming everybody is right-handed. So I always work, the top bar is facing me and the bottom bar is away. And you want to start at the bottom corner down here, and you come across, get your fishing line, pull it to the top corner, right up here. This is the reason I'm using 15-pound. I've got students got good eyes. They use 8-pound. 8-pound to about 20 works good. Now you take this, come across. You're forming an X. You want to come up here and go around that nail 4 or 5 times. Just hold your finger over here. Now this is why I use a big hammer. That way you keep your fingers out of the way. Try to get one good hit on it. Now that's a good hit on it. Now I take my thumb, point it down, reach across the thing, twist your hand around your finger. Now just give it just a little tug, go around 4 or 5 times, hold it off to the side, and one good hit, just like so. Now, don't use a utility knife because it'll always nick here and it breaks it. Take a side cutters. It's a lot safer. Just reach up, cut it. Flip this over and repeat the process. Now, you hear that noise in there. You can almost play a tune on there. There's no need to put wire in there. Wire costs lots of money, and if you're going to do your own cleans, it's hard to cut a good sellout. Now this is some foundation that we ran this morning, and we make our own foundation. Now if you find these videos are just a little bit instructional for you, I would appreciate any donations that you would make, because the Fat Bee Man pays for all his own research. I'm not government funded, and anything that I'm learning, I'm willing to pass it on. But I also would like a little donation so to show your appreciation. If it'll save you $1, it's worth a 50-cent donation. One down, reach across, thumb down, just reach across like so, give it a little tug. Come around your nail. Now these are small number 8 nails. Hit it down, rub your finger across it, make sure you're down. Now, you take this, get that off of there. Nip this off. Now I like to cut the tails off, make sure it looks nice and neat. You can get the tail off of this side. Now, that frame Can you hear how tight that is? Now, as another thing you can do is put a bobby pin in. It gives you a little extra support if you're going to sling them out. I've slung them out without the bobby pins. Now I always take and run the bobby pins through each other, make sure they don't have no paint on them. Just stick it down in so, and just separate it. Push it down. Make sure that this is down flush. That way you don't catch on the side of your box. Fits in nice and smooth. Now see that one there's got a little bit of a wedge. Hold your, so you're smooth. Now, that's how I put together frames. Now, might not be the right way, but this is how I've done it for years. It's a simple, straightforward way. I don't use a frame jig. I use my table saw as a building bench. I've had students bring assembly boxes. Doing it like this, I usually line up 8 or 10 at a time, and I can do them faster than they can load the box. By the time they load their box, I'm done with my 8. Now remember, click on that donate button if you like. This is the Fat Bee Man saying visit my webpage, DixieBeeSupply.com.